Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming on. Got an update for you guys on basically these two storm systems here and pieces of energy that are going to be trying to move through in the next few hours. And then we're going to be taking a look at this big pattern change that we've got ahead of us. We're going to have temperatures a little bit below average, so it's going to be a little bit less like what we've been seeing in the last few weeks. It's been kind of spring-like for many areas, but it's supposed to get back into winter, and it might seem like winter may be making a comeback here, or at least trying to. So, we have a lot to talk about, but like I said, we're going to be focusing on these two systems here. One that's impacting kind of similar to the last ones, like we're kind of in a round of these little storm systems that have been moving across the western U.S. And then we've got just a little piece of energy left over that's trying to get out of the Great Lakes regions. But these two systems will be relatively, easy to forecast. And then I'll show you the paths and the location for this. So, actually, I think that is actually not, I wouldn't say that's the path exactly. There's a way that you could definitely have a possibility that this would actually go this directly way. Um, but I think that, this is just going to probably, you know, fizz out here across portions of maybe the Rockies. I don't know. But, in that vicinity, I think is where you're going to have a lot less precipitation from this system. And then from this system, it's just pretty much going to either move through Canada, kind of hugging the borderline between the northern areas of the interior northeast states, or it could just drop and ride through New York State, maybe delivering some snowfall and rainfall. But that's not anything too major. So we'll get into the update, and we're going to start with your alerts. So as you can see here, we do have a lot of flood warnings that have been left over from this recent severe weather outbreak. I guess you could call it in a way. I don't think it was necessarily an outbreak, but it was definitely close to that. And, we got kind of worried. I mean, we've been having these rounds where, like, once every 2 weeks you get a very large threat for severe weather. So a pattern that we're going to continue watching, but I think it's really going to drop as we're going to see a lot less warm temperatures across here. So we do have a lot of red flag warnings out. You've got the warm temperatures staying in for the final 2 days, starting Monday is when you're gonna see those temperatures start to drop. But as of now, it's very windy here across New Mexico, Texas, and pretty much the southern plains in general. But it's also very hot down there, so you're having hot temperatures and it's very dry. So those are favorable conditions for wildfires. So you want to watch out for that. You really don't want to do anything that could pose a threat to causing fire or anything. Winter storm warnings out for a lot of California, some of the Dakotas, mostly North Dakota. That's probably just from our storm that is kind of located around this area. And then you do have a lot of winter weather advisories just scattered around out here. Excuse me. Because this is just from all the winter weather that's been happening. And then you can see here that you do have some wind advisories, high wind advisories. We'll just continue watching these winds. I don't think we're going to be taking a look at that in this update. But just in case this really does give an effort to be potentially damaging, I will definitely take a look at this in future updates. But for the most part, it looks like it's just going to be breezy and it's going to be substantial winter storm, but nothing too major, nothing crazy. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. You do have storm warnings though, but this goes out for maybe the coastal regions of Maine, but this is out into the Atlantic. So we're gonna take a look at the HRRR model. This is the latest HRRR model that goes out 48 hours. So even though this is actually kind of old, we're still gonna use it. So because it's old, this starts out at 2 p.m. today. So we're gonna skip ahead to where we are. So right now it's set just after 7:50. So put this to let's put this to 7 o'clock. Let's put this to 8 o'clock. So you can see here that it's mostly snow. It's snowing. It's very scattered. This is very interesting to see. I know the HRRR is a radar type, but this one is very scattered, and you haven't been having all snow. There's a lot of rain mixing in with this too. You could see here a little band of rain moving through the border of Washington and Oregon State, and then you've been dealing with some rain here in the south central areas of California. But you're gonna have scattered rain showers and snow showers. I don't think the snow is gonna get heavy at all. Although for the mountain regions, you could get a few feet of snow out of this. But here comes the main event, and it's looks like a pretty good winter storm for you guys in all of Northern California. I mean, usually this is the primary setup, and it kind of is. It's just a little more scattered with this one, but watch as you have two low pressure systems kind of pairing with each other here. This one is still offshore, and this one is still in the Dakotas. So this one's gonna be definitely stronger because one, it's closer to the system, but two, it's also a lower, millibar low pressure than this one. This is still 998. This is 997. So the path for these would probably be that one would probably, head directly southeast. This one would probably kind of, have some bumps in the road, meaning that it would, go north and go south and kind of like that as it's going drifting eastward. So you can see that it's going to continue snowing for a little bit. This is looks like tomorrow night, and yeah, this is tomorrow night. Look at this system here. Now it's completely organized, and you've got a pretty good winter storm on your hands here. For the Great Lakes regions, I think that you guys could definitely get at least a few inches out of this. Maybe we'll take a deeper look at that in the next update. But I've got a little estimate on what the snowfall totals could be for that, because that is actually going to be impacting tomorrow, but probably a middle of the night system. And then, you could see here overnight hours of tomorrow, it should be done. Maybe we'll have some leftover snow showers and rain showers. Mostly rain showers off the coast, and then snow showers that are going to be kind of just scattered out here. So nothing to be afraid of, no crazy impacts to travel or anything. Just keep in mind that the roads might be a little slick, maybe a little slippery. You never know. So we're going to be taking a look here at the snowfall totals. These are future snowfall totals. So we were just out 48 hours. So we'll put this to 48 hours. So you can see here that you have widespread, you know, like 30s and 40s here. But this is, again, you got to remember, it's always the same area because these are all mountain ranges of California. So I would say, like, for populated areas, like kind of like this one here in Northern California, I mean, that is a little bit more of like an actual like town or city than just a mountain range. I mean, with this one, it's looking like you guys are going to be like the coastal regions of Northern California is looking like it's going to be all like, maybe a foot to 2 feet of snow. I mean, that is a lot of snow. That is a major winter storm. I'll tell you, actually, that is a major winter storm. There are a few cities in this, but I don't think, it's going to be like one of those where people might say like life-threatening situation, blizzard is possible. It's just another normal round of snowstorms. Like, we're supposed to get snowstorms in winter. March is still considered a winter month. It's not spring yet, so we still have a few storms to go through. Look at Idaho here. You're getting a pretty good area of. This is over 7 inches of snow. This is approaching the 10-inch mark. Utah, I would say northeastern Utah, you guys could see maybe a little bit more than a foot and a half of snow. Look at the Seattle area. Maybe you guys could pick up maybe an inch or two. But then obviously there's this tiny area that I think this is west of Seattle. I think you guys could get like potentially up to 15 inches of snow. But there's a few areas that we will consider watching. But all these blues you see here, This is all like 3 to 6 inches. So, it's gonna be actually beautiful out there. I'll tell you, because you're gonna wake up to a nice coating of some snow on the ground, and maybe some areas will see some, pretty, maybe I wouldn't say bizarre, but like pretty large snowfall totals out there. So, a pretty, I would say this is a, winter storm that it would be favorable for you, because I know there's a lot of winter weather fans out here, in the western U.S., because this area is typically known for getting a lot of heat waves. But the whole reason is because there is something out in here in the Pacific. It's way out there in the northern Pacific. There is a brewing low pressure that's been brewing for like a month. I'm not even joking. It's so strong that it's literally the it's pushing moisture in. It's like pushing moisture into the west coast. Not only just the U.S., but of Canada, like southwestern Canada. The coast of southwestern Canada is also getting hit by this. So one factor, which is a big factor, of why you're getting so many winter storms in this exact area, is because there's so much moisture just pushing into the area here. So it's something you want to watch. Maybe even check out the radar and see if you can spot that low pressure out there. But there's something spinning around out there that's been out there for a long time now, and that is what's causing these major snowstorms. So we're gonna move on to the north central. I kind of showed you guys, what we'd be looking at here. So let me get my pen here so I can write and draw on my screen. Okay, so we're gonna start out where we are. So we'll start out at 8 o'clock, and you've been actually dealing with mostly rain. Maybe it's a good thing because it's a sign of spring. I don't know if most of you out here in the Great Lakes regions are wanting spring to come earlier or later. But if you are a spring lover or a spring fan out here, it's definitely going to be a little bit warmer, because usually you'll see maybe some snow flurries with this typical kind of system at this time. Early March, you'll get some rain and snow showers out around this area. But that's not your system that we're going to be focusing on. That's just going to move out, maybe a band that's detached from your main system. But look at this. You're getting into the very early morning hours of tomorrow, and there's a lot of heavy snow that's going to move through central to eastern South Dakota. I don't think this is going to be North Dakota until the morning hours of tomorrow. Not the early morning hours, but just the morning hours tomorrow. That's when you're going to start seeing that snowfall potentially getting heavy across the Dakotas. But South Dakota, you guys are going to get it a little bit earlier. Also note that this is rotating. This is pretty interesting to see. A sign for a strong low pressure system is if the whole thing is slowly rotating. Like if we were to play this, which we can, watch as this is also moving on its path, but it's also rotating. So watch this. You see? And maybe it'll even, go through full circle. But that is very interesting to watch. You're starting out as all rain here, and then here comes your next system. But once this low pressure gets located right here, 1 second. Alright, here we go. There it is. And then this whole system's just rotating all around here. And it's also moving on its path east. So it's very interesting to see this pretty interesting pattern that most of these kind of systems have. It's not an uncommon thing. It's just a sign of strength with this system. But we'll skip ahead here. You get some sleet, maybe some ice mixing in here across southern Minnesota, maybe southern, south central North Dakota. Then you're getting some rain action here in southern Wisconsin, southern Minnesota, and northern Iowa. That could be heavy at times. Maybe some thunderstorms here across parts of southern Minnesota and central to maybe even northern Wisconsin. I know it's very unlikely because it's, this time of year. It's just the beginning of March. But this isn't tomorrow. This is Monday. So, middle of the night tomorrow night into extreme morning hours of Monday, I think you're going to see, the biggest threat for thunderstorms. But you do get mostly winter weather, but then here comes another bounce back for like a secondary blow of thunderstorms that will fire across the great, this little lake here. I don't know what lake that is. I'm not really, good on those, but very heavy snow is going to move through, not only the Dakotas, but northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, and then this huge band of snow here. I mean, look at this. This is like 3 inches an hour. I mean, that is crazy amounts of snowfall. But then, we don't have to take a look at the rest of this path because it's just going to move into Canada, kind of like that. So, that's pretty much that for that system. And then we'll move on to your snowfall totals for this region here. So, we were out 48 hours, I believe. Yes, we were. So, we'll put this out to 51. So, 51 hours out, you're not going to get, that crazy. We'll just add the 63. I think so. Yeah, because it all changes between 51 and 63. I mean, look how much more inches you get. So you could see that we'll start out in southern Minnesota. It's not going to be bad. It's maybe up to like 5 inches of snow, but nothing too crazy. I think it's going to be mainly off to the east with this system. Oops, we skipped way ahead. And then we'll go to central to north central Wisconsin. It looks like for you guys it could get to like maybe 10 inches, but that's going to be like in this tiny area of eastern Wisconsin. And then obviously you're going to have to force to move onto uh, Michigan, which already we can tell is going to be the winner of this system, meaning that you guys are going to get a lot more snow than any other area in this system. I mean, look at this. This is like 13 to 15 inches of snow. This whole area, this little pink and purple, that is over a foot of snow. To a little bit less than a foot of snow here. But the purple ranges all the way like from the border of south central to like north central Wisconsin. So, or sorry, Michigan. So that is very interesting to see. So if you're a late viewer, please tell me in the comments down below how much snow you're seeing from this system, because I think we will see a lot of snow, especially in Michigan. So yeah, that's pretty much that for your snowfall totals in the north central. We're gonna just kind of move on to your pattern ahead. I'm gonna leave this playing. We don't really have to take a look too much at anything. It's kind of nice to not have many, concerning storms in the next few days because, all you're gonna get is this system here. It does look like a lot of rain. I mean, maybe even severe weather, but it's a big winter storm. But I can tell that it's not going to be terrible because you still have a lot of time to change. But you get another one of this, and look at this. Oh my gosh, a lot of possible severe weather here. We'll put this back. Look at all this red here in the Gulf coastal regions. So two major storm systems. I think you're going to see a potential for yet another possible severe weather outbreak in this area for not only this system around the 18th, but then your other system here, if we can get back to it, right around here, the 11th. So the 11th and 18th is where you're going to see two possible major systems that are going to move through in the next week or two, but also two potential severe weather outbreaks here in the southeast. So, that was pretty quick. I'll leave this playing one more time so you can see. Your time frames are up here. This is your times. But I'll keep this area circled just so you can know. I mean, look at this Arctic plunge, though. that was around the 16th, I think. But it's like, warm front and then crazy cold front. So yeah, that's pretty much the latest GFS model. And so this is actually something we haven't looked at so far on this channel, but we're going to be taking a look at basically the minimum temperature forecast out 7 days. So you have your times here. But look at this. I mean, this is very interesting. I really like what the National Weather Service did about this. So we'll start out. Oops. Okay, so this is out 3 days. So that you're starting on the 7th. So this is Tuesday, March 7th. So I mean, look at this. You're in the 30s for your minimum temperatures here. But it's a lot colder because you're gonna have you're not only gonna have this little. It's gonna be small ridge here. Maybe a small ridge could form, but it's gonna be very weak. So when you see a small ridge happen right here in the southeast, that allows that cold air to move down right into the south, the pretty much all of the western U.S. So all of the western U.S. is just going to be chilly out there. But this is basically your areas, your like regions for cold air, and warmer. But look at Florida. Maybe you're gonna be maxing out at like 75 degrees, or actually minimum for 75. Down here in Texas and Louisiana, looks like it's going to be a little bit warmer for you guys than in Florida. But again, these are your minimum temperatures. At first, it's not too terrible, but then watch as we see this ridge that I was talking about. It quickly retreats, and you could have minimum temperatures drop into the 20s, maybe even the teens for the Northeast. So this now is out 5 days. So this is for actually let's put this at 4 days. So this is for March 8th, 31 degrees for New York City. That is your lowest temperature forecast for New York City as of the 8th. And then look at this, maybe even dropping below zero across portions of Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho. And then the 9th, it's even colder in the Northeast, a little less cold for the Western U.S., but we're just going to continue seeing this pattern. And then look at this. I mean, this is where your cold front kind of just dominates the U.S. The Southeast, you guys are only getting warm temperatures, warm-ish in Florida. But I mean, you're seeing widespread 40s and lower 50s here in the Southeast, so it's going to be pretty cold. Well, not cold. Well, pretty cold for not in the entire U.S., but for the Southeast, it'll be cold considering what it's been in the past few days. But we're just gonna continue watching this pattern here, where it's gonna be like cold to warm, cold to warm, cold to warm, and we'll continue. I'll have this play, but just continue watching this as it seems as if the border is not gonna change unless you stop it right at this one day where temperatures just fall down here in the south. So let me get back here. Alright, this is it right here. So I want you guys to pay attention to the temperature at your house wherever you are in the US on Saturday, March 11th. Next Saturday, I want you to tell me what the temperature is at your house. I know it might sound a little silly, but I do want to know because I think that could be a sign that the pattern is definitely changing and winter it might not be over just yet. So, that's going to bring us to the maximum temperatures. It may stay warm for like the next 3 days, but then, I mean, they're out, it's going to be cold. I mean, not cold, but like, decently chilly. But look at this. I mean, this is 94 here. You're seeing maybe even 90s in far southern Texas. Like, if we were to draw like a line between where you're going to see warm temperatures at your max and cold, I would say it's here. And again, this is your maximum temperature forecast. This isn't your forecast for temperatures. It isn't your minimum. This is your maximum. And then you have time frames up there. So I'll keep this playing, but it's gonna be something that is going to be you're gonna have to pay attention to, because again, I'm gonna say it again. This could be a sign of winter. I mean, let's go to your day where the temperatures drop here. Yeah, here it is. And look at this. Max temperatures only into the 70s. And that's only for Florida. For most of the southeast, it's just 60s and 50s. So that is a typical March day for the southeast. Again, it's on Saturday. But I mean, look at this. It's like, one day it's cold, one day it's warm, and it's just kind of like that. But then there will be a few days where you could see some above average temperatures consistently in the southeast until that one day where everything just drops. But you're definitely going to have two very strong Arctic air masses that are going to be pushing directly far south, and then maybe one from, like southwest Canada that's going to be giving the northwest some cold air, and then maybe even southeast Canada maybe giving the northeast some cold air. So many different scenarios. We could go on for hours talking about different scenarios and different outcomes from this pattern change, but there's many things that are going to happen, and it's something that we're definitely going to continue watching. That's going to wrap up the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, like, share, comment, subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel, and we'll catch you guys in the next update. So let's say it again, we're just going to continue watching that pattern change and these upcoming storms that could possibly be impacting in the next few days to weeks ahead. So we'll see you guys.